Welcome to the Transform Sales Podcast, where forward-thinking business leaders come to share their experiences and ideas, learn from each other, and amplify their results together.
Hey guys, what's up? Amir Reiter here. I'm recording the Transform Sales Podcast live with my guest today, Michael Maximoff, CEO, co-founder of Belkins. I have seen you guys crushing the review scores on Clutch and G2 Crowd, wondering who these guys are, and I'm excited to meet you the first time on our podcast and have you on here. Welcome, man. How's it going? How's your day?
Thank you, Amir. Nice to meet you. Thanks for having me. And the day is going great. I appreciate you, having me on, and I would, welcome great conversation and look forward and excited to kind of share whatever I know or, tell more about Belkins or our
We're going to pick your brain a little bit. We're going to pick your brain on this episode. The idea for this episode is to shine a light on all the awesome sales agencies that produce millions and millions of dollars for revenue for companies across the world that are little known, hard to found, and just letting people hear the real deal. Sometimes we talk about problems that buyers make. The idea is that buyers will listen and not make those mistakes. Before we get into all that stuff, maybe you could tell everybody who's listening a little bit about yourself. How did you get into the outsource business? What is the name of your agency? Tell us a little bit about you and your agency.
Absolutely. So I'm with Belkins. Belkins is the leading appointment setting agency. We've been around for, 6 years now. And the interesting thing is we've been doubling or tripling in growth every year. So I started the business. First year, we had, I think like 10 people. We made over $300,000 in revenue, in gross revenue. Then the next year we did 20 people, $1 million, then 40 people, then 80, then 160, and now we're at the 300, and we're projecting to get about 400-ish people on board, and then make between 20 to $50 million in revenue in this year. And the reason we're growing is we are very retention focused, and our motto or the mission is make sure that we take care of every customer, but we still can grow. That's why, and I would love to talk about that today, but really because the retention is the king, and we just fuel the growth.
We're gonna get into that. You're also gonna be a good person to talk to on our other episode that we have with John Barrows and Eddie Bejo called the Salesforce SDR efficiency, because you're growing, right? Other people are shrinking, maybe cutting. You guys are growing. You must be doing something right. So we're gonna pick your brain. But that's awesome. Tell me a little bit about let's talk about Belkins and who you guys serve, right? From a customer perspective, are you guys more focused on companies that have software, services, products?
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Like, what's your 80-20 rule, right? And I know you guys service a lot, but talk to me about
Absolutely.
where
Yeah, absolutely.
what does that look like?
So I will be honest with you. We have a lot of inbound traffic coming in and people interested in working with us. And most of those folks are tech companies. So they're in IT services, IT solutions, tech, SaaS, computer software. And we work with some of them, or with, I would say like 30% of the client base is this type of customers. But I'll be honest with you, that's not what my team is excited about, just because the value proposition is very similar to all of those folks, and it's very tough to differentiate them.
So tell me what you're excited about. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, and so my team are excited about some really traditional industries: B2B manufacturing, B2B construction, healthcare, pharma, biotech. I'll be honest with you, I had these amazing cases where there is this company, Shelby Williams. They are a premium furniture, B2B furniture provider. They service golf club, men clubs, bars. They do this premium fancy, 25 grand a chair, something like that. And we work with them, and we run campaigns targeting those golf clubs, bars, targeting procurement managers. And we had 98% open rate for our emails, 98%. Because imagine this, when you want to refurnish your bar or your golf club, you call someone, you Google whatever, but you don't have someone sending you emails with the catalog or something. Like
something you want to do, it's in the back of your mind and you never do it, right? So
right. But if you have
a compelling event.
Exactly. And when you have this very nice crafted email coming your way, where it's a personalized, it's not like a email blast. It's like a sequence, the right done with the right targeting, with the right messaging, without links or images, not HTML, but really plain text. You were like, all right, okay. So the point that I'm making here is there's so many unserviced industries that are out there, before COVID, post COVID, during COVID, that you just need to think about and brainstorm and A/B test. That's why that's actually one of the reasons I think why we are continue growing is I'm currently a revenue leader in our organization. So I work with marketing, I work with sales, and I work with accounts, and I combine the expertise from all of them. So I didn't sort of like, I didn't delegate it and say, okay, this is my marketing guys, they do marketing. These are the sales guys that do sales. But what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to bring everyone on board and everyone be aligned and everyone sort of like see the full picture.
Like
and
one revenue team.
Exactly.
Like,
say that one more time.
Like one revenue team. You're running your company like one revenue team. The management from top down. The marketing is saying the same thing as sales.
Exactly. And you start off with the customer. So you say like, okay, guys, what are the customers that we are serving? So what I do, we use this tool called Plan Hat and I think that if you like, this is one of the tools that is, this is amazing for us as the agency owners because it's not a CRM, it's not HubSpot, it's not Salesforce. It's specifically designed for agencies with different playbooks, with different hooks. And
what's it called again?
Plan Hat.
Are you comfortable sharing that with all the agencies?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
Do the guys. I mean, if you can,
guys, first call, dropping knowledge and sharing some tricks.
Why not?
That. You should put that up, Javier. Plan Hat. I'm gonna look them up too. Planhat.ai.com.
.com. I think they're .com. They're pretty popular. I think they raised like 40 or 60 mil in their Series A or something like that. So they're really cool guys. Yeah. So anyhow, what I do, I export data from Plan Hat and I look at industries, number of clients per industry, the average SDR KPI per industry over the last month, 3 months, and 6 months, the one that we committed to. I look at the case studies that they left, video testimonials, and reviews, and I compare it with the money that we make. And I create this sort of like benchmark into the best successful industries, delivery-wise, revenue-wise, review-wise. And then I strategize, and then based on this, I prioritize, and then I give this information to then my marketing and sales and say, guys, this is the industry that we're serving the best. This is the industries that we see the best traction, the value, but they were not we don't have a lot of clients there. Let's go and attack that.
So Mike, I pause you for a second just to unpack this because I'm following you, right? Because I'm gonna unpack it for the viewers, right? So I asked this question, who your best fit clients are, right? And the answer was real clear. It's like, we're getting the SaaS companies, we're getting the tech companies, we're getting these companies. We got great SEO, right? We're good at this stuff. But what I found interesting, what you're saying is that what you guys really want are the companies that other companies ignore. It's the companies that other companies might find that are not sexy. It's a privately equity-backed industrial packaging company that sells a $50,000 sewing machine. And your logic, right? Let's unpack why, right? Your logic makes sense because you can better serve companies that have been late to adopt the SDR practices, right? Because SDR practices came from Salesforce, predictable revenue, all this kind of stuff, right? So all the SaaS companies are hiring SDRs to sell to each other, right? And you find that if you're really going to help people, you're going to take people that haven't sent clear emails in decades, right? They've been running a business off their relationships. And that makes sense to me. I hope it makes sense to the listeners, right? Because it's smart. And another thing that I picked off on the way you're talking is that you are actually you're a modern revenue leader. You're a blend of marketing and sales, right? Because your tactic is very similar to keyword building. It's not to go after the keywords where it'll take 30 years to win page. Your tactic is similar to how SEO companies say, okay, well, we might not be able to win here, but we can win here. So you're actually looking for the industries that you can win, almost like bringing some of this SEO style stuff, but to business development. And that makes sense to me. I hope I understood you correctly, but
absolutely, yes.
Okay.
Correct. And then we do that for the industries that we see the best conversion for. So if we see there is an industry, let's say, I don't know, like AI solutions, and we see that in AI solutions industry, like cold emailing or our approach doesn't work because we don't see a very high KPI per SDR per client. But the event services, the B2B event services or facility management are much better. So what I'm doing, and I'm kind of directing my marketing efforts, the outbound efforts to that industry that make more sense. Whereas I still know, because of our overall marketing strategy, the other industries that needs this, they will come in themselves, right? So the idea is that you always look for a few, and then you always target. You're not doing like the pray and spray approach, but you have a clear 5-7 industries that you go after with the whole marketing. So it means that your social, it's like an ABM approach, but in a way it's not a peer-to-peer ABM, the traditional one, but it's more like a more general
Maybe
ABM.
on industries. You're testing it.
Right, exactly. And you just go after them.
So this is going to flow right into my next question. I want to know what sets Belkins apart. I already got a drift on it, right? But let's talk about that. Like I don't want to put words in your mouth, because I almost want to say it because you gave me a good description. But tell us what makes you guys set you guys
absolutely apart. I think that and I don't want to be generic here, but I'll be like 100% honest here. I think that people make the difference, and I mean that because the one thing that me and my co-founder Vlad are doing every day is we work with people and we nurture and grow people, and that's why we have one of the best tenure in the whole industry. It's like most of the people that joined the company back in the day, they're still with us. So the SDRs, the account managers, the lead researchers, the content creators, all of them with us. And what we do, because of the growth, we always create great opportunities for them, but also we have a lot of performance-based compensation model where actually our people make money off the client check of the subscription they're paying us. So because of that, they take ownership of the account and they sort of like know that they're growing with the organization and their commission is growing, they're growing. And because of that, they don't need to look for other opportunities and they're treated well. So it means that there is there's an open discussion here. There's nothing in the organization that I can say, okay, guys, now you do cold calls. Why it's different? Do you actually? So I always say, like, I wanted to be treated. They are treated as I wanted to be treated. And the reason I started this organization was I never wanted to go to work or go to office at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. and I'm like 5-10 minutes late. I need to talk to someone about why I'm late. I hated that. So when we created the agency, we start bringing on great people on board, and we said, like, guys, we require your best performance, your passion, and like really focusing on the customers. So we don't, and everything else, it's on you. You have your own schedule, you have your own days off, you go this, but we have clear KPIs, clear expectations, clear quality. Let's go. And because
I'll pause you for a second.
Yeah.
I was traumatized by being late too. I got fired from a company. I had coffee in the break room and they fired me at 8:15. That was a separate story. It's funny. We probably both had an event in our lives where we were late, and it got us in our early careers. We were like, I don't want to be penalized for having coffee.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And that's what happened. And because like people, people say that they're replaceable, but they're not. So what happened was we retained this great talent. They build the core team. And then this core team start like spreading the vibes, spreading the energy to all the new hires, and then the new great people coming on board. And there is an employer brand, and there's like, oh, well, now it's fun. And so, this thing's happening, but obviously it's a lot of hard work, and this is hard. The team's hard work. So I always say that my biggest achievement is bringing on these great people together and building the platform for them, and everything else that's just, No,
well, look, it's interesting. When I asked that question, right, you could have took two paths, right? I think what made such your part, you went down the path of your fulfillment, right? Your culture, how you train, how you take care of people, which surprised me because I thought you'd go down the path of more of a scientific approach to going to sales. And obviously it's hard to say what separates you because you don't know every other agency, right? In the world, but I was listening.
I actually know. I know a lot of agencies.
You know every agency in the world.
I know. And listen, this is what just the people in general, because I'm passionate. But overall, like we are in our lane. We do all the cold emailing. We don't do like cold calls like something else. We have our own proprietary tool, Folderly, that allow us to bypass spam filters. We have 100% delivery rate. Spam doesn't care for us. So we don't buy setup domains, buy all of this. We are very strategic. We have our own engineering team. So we have about 40 engineers on board. So it's like everything is engineered. And we are very marketing focused. So I have like KPIs. We have OKR integrated from bottom to the bottom. So I'm measuring everything for every person.
I think that separates you apart. I think that combined with your culture, I think you're coming at this with more of a demand gen approach, transparently. Like I don't put words in your mouth, right? Because I'm personally, now I'm on a podcast and doing this with you, right? But I'm also putting on my demand gen hat, right? And trying to look at it from top down. So I'm following with the things that you say, while there are other agencies there that are heavy on the phones, right? Some are heavy on LinkedIn, right? So it's just interesting to hear how everybody's got a secret sauce, right? And everybody brings something different.
Because look at this again. So when you have, let's say, when you have a team that consists of, let's say, 5 people, on average, we are servicing customer with like account manager, SDR, lead researcher, copywriter, individual specialist, and everyone is great. And everyone is doing their best work, and we have technology in place for everything, and they're the best people for the job. What's happening is you're getting a very high conversion from a lead to appointment. And if the SDRs and account managers do a good job in terms of the strategy and qualification, those appointments actually convert. So now you're looking at the math. Now you're looking at like, okay, so 500 leads with this quality, with this personalization can bring me, let's say, 5 head appointments. I can convert 10 or 15% of those. So now you have an acquisition cost. Now you have the commitment. Now you say, okay, can you repeat that for as many customers as you can and scale that? And that's what I was able to do with the team. We are able to scale that. So you can do this for 10 customers, but try to do it at 100 or 200 or 300 accounts at the same time, servicing 300 clients with 300 Slack channels at the same time. That's tough. But what we are doing, we are utilizing technology to orchestrate that. So I have 300 Slack channels. I have 300 teams dedicated. I have 300 reports for all these clients combined in the one big data that I can analyze all the data, the open rates, reply rates, the strategies, the playbooks. I have that, but it's not like it's a great tech business. But I would say that that wasn't something that anyone can do that. But
I'm going to pause you. I'm going to pause you because you're going to come on to multiple podcasts that are going to pick your brain and feature this. But I think one of the things that's clear to me is that when people are listening to this, to have this concept of I'm going to outsource to save money or outsourcing is lower quality, they have it completely wrong. I'm like, if you're listening to Michael and how passionate he is about what he's doing, are you really outsourcing something, or are you hiring an industry expert in revenue, right? And I think that's where things get blurry, right? Where buyers, because we're going to get into buyers and the mistake buyers make, but I think buyers think of outsourcing as a cost savings, as this, as that, right? But like, do you think any of these buyers have 40 engineers that know to pass spam filters that are running 300 Slack? They don't. So, it's kind of funny. I think if you're listening to this, I think if you come into approach of trying to hire an agency, thinking that you're getting a cheaper body or cheaper this, you might be buying the wrong way, and you might not be seeing what you're really getting. Because what you're really getting is a guy who's grown his company for over 6 years straight and has become an expert, and you could tap into his talent and his expertise at a fraction of the cost. It just happens to be a fraction of the cost because maybe having a huge team. Huh?
You're so true. You're so true. That's weird because every one of our customers have access to me personally. So anyone can book whatever hours with me, and I actually can work.
They don't. If you go to consult, you charge $1,000 an hour, right?
But I don't do consulting. I don't do consulting because it's not scalable. But it's not scalable for me.
If you did, it was hypothetical.
Yes.
When they work with you to do a one-on-one to pick your brain, they can, right? I'm getting into the whole concept that there are some companies out there that are great to hire 100 SDRs, 200 SDRs. Not saying you're not. And there are other companies that can really benefit from. We're going to get results. We're going to get expertise, but we literally got like why hire a VP of this, a CP of that who hasn't done it when you can act as someone who's done it for a living? That's just my two cents.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I agree with you there. And I think that the tougher thing is the actual hiring process, because for us, it's like, look at this. For me, I'm doing 1,000 applications for an SDR role. I'm doing 400 interviews, and I'm sending like 5-10 job offers. That's it. Mm-hmm. So and then this SDR goes into the SDR process where there's like 40 senior SDRs that they talk to, go to calls, see the playbooks, go every day, pick the brains, do all of that. And then over the course of the year, they work with 5, 10, 15 clients, whatever. This SDR with this experience is far past whatever qualification you can hire. And then, so when you're paying us like $6-7 subscription, you're like, it's like we calculated that, and if we really combine all of that, then it's really like 1/4 of the cost that you would actually spend in house.
You triple your price, and the customers will be happy. It's a weird like paradox. I don't know what it is, but like charge people $100K and they never complain. You charge, but then
sales team would say that Michael, there's no way we can sell this, right? So it's like
next question. I want to move on. Mistakes that buyers make, right? Not
Yeah.
talking about mistakes they make when they're, not mistakes that like affect your ability to compose them, but mistakes they make when they're searching for the right provider or trying to hire something. Is there something that comes to mind when we ask that question?
Yes, absolutely. All right, so there are a few things here, right? So I think that people needs to be data driven, right? So need to understand the approach, understand the metrics, the conversions, the KPI, the resources that are taken, etc. They also need to know the people that are actually going to be doing that, right? Not necessarily the sales that is selling the service, but rather like who will be actually servicing, what those people are, what's their qualification, how long they've been with the company, how they do it, etc. Right? I think that it's very important, right? But also I think that in terms of like the mistakes, I think that expecting first results without any commitment in terms of our actual own time, because very often I think that when we started this business, you and I, we there was a concept of outsourcing top of the funnel, where you're like, okay, this is top of the funnel, this is quickly, we've done that, we got some traction, that's it. Whereas right now it's not actually the top of the funnel, right? It's actually it goes down the funnel. So you actually are, qualifying, you're booking, you're creating brand, you're doing something else, you're actually doing some post-selling, etc. So there's a lot of things happening there. And because of that, you need to invest your time into energy into that. So the mistakes are, you don't have a good value proposition, strong value proposition, and you think that the generic value proposition would actually can be solved by a vendor because they know how to do that. It's not. You need to do your own engineering. You do your own research, sort of learning of that. So value prop, obviously, having a certain ICP in mind or certain targeting that you feel, okay, this is the best targeting for me, but it's maybe not. So you need to A/B test and find the right one at the end. So it might be different from what you expect, right? And then the third one is investing.
I'm going to pause you because you're getting into mistakes they make. Did you hear me?
Yeah. Amir?
I might got a lag. I wanted to cut you off because you are going my speed, and
okay.
Only I can go your speed. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, Amir, I'm here. I hear you. We are good.
I had a little bit of internet issues, but it's good. We have slowed down a little bit. Yeah, Kate, let me know if you can hear me now.
Yes, I can hear you.
I think you can hear me now. So what you really said to me made a lot of sense, because you first of all, you go 100 miles per hour. This is exactly how I sound to everyone else, which is awesome. And you're super passionate, which I fucking love, because you're just bringing the real deal, who you are. And I hope everybody can see that when they're watching this. But mistake that they make, one of the things that you said caught me, right? And this is that the buyers that are looking for agencies tend to make decisions based off the sales reps, and your advice to a buyer is to actually meet and understand what the team that's going to be producing the results is going to be doing.
Correct? Yes. Correct. Yes.
I can stand behind that, because that is crystal clear, guys. If you are looking for an outsourced sales agency, advice from an expert: don't base your decision on the sales rep. Base your decision on actually speaking to the team that's going to be working and executing, because that's some good advice that a lot of people don't do. All right. The second thing that you mentioned, if I heard you correctly, was don't expect crazy results if you're not an expert. Don't tell the experts now their timeline, right? If you're an expert, dictate the timeline. If you've never been to Mars before and you never made a jet, don't be the one telling Elon that his jet's going to go in this time, right? So these are two big mistakes that buyers make, and that's why you can go on, right? Like I saw that you had probably 30 more mistakes in your mind to go out. I wanted to pause it at those two, because those are two important ones. Talk to the team. Talk to the team that's really going to do the work and understand what they're doing. Leave your expectations out the door, because if you have the right to have expectations, you're probably not needing an agency, right? You're not going to go to a doctor and he's going to be like, I'm sorry, you have cancer, and you're like, that's fine. Like, we're going to cure it with some apple juice. You're probably going to take his advice. And in the world of revenue, sales agencies are doctors, so take their advice.
Yeah, I have an example. Yeah, I have an example, Amir. So you start a campaign with me and I'm doing your TAM analysis, right? And then the TAM analysis is like, hey, Amir, you have like 5,000 companies in your sweet spot. That's it. You come in and say, Michael, that's not. I have $25,000 because I Googled it. I know, I read it. I have 25,000 companies. Then I would say, like, how do you measure them? And so like, I get it from here, here, here. The way I am measuring it, I have these three sources that I worked for like 6 years with. I know that 40% of those companies are dead. They don't update their social. They're not active. They don't hire people. So you cannot approach them with appointment setting because there's no way that. I know that 20% of those companies, are like, like laying off people, whatever. So the 30% that is actually out of 25K is the 10K that is actually good. So I know that because I've done this 2,000 times and you don't. So that's just to support your point that very often you just need to listen to the people that actually have done that a lot of time because
I'm
this
going to
is
ask one last question before we wrap.
Go ahead.
I'm going to ask one last question because I think my internet sucks. I'm home today. Would you consider yourself a sales scientist?
No, because I am, one of our clients, I had a call with a client, and then I was on the call with a client, and I was client, me, and my account manager, and I was pitching some of these new services that we offer, like, ABM, sales enablement, whatever. And he talks to my account manager and say, Alice, Michael is one of the best marketing people that I ever meet in my life. And the guy is like, he's like built billion-dollar companies, right? He's like, and I was like, come on, Eric, no, I know my shit, but I'm not like the best. So the point I'm making here is I know something about the marketing, but I think that if you think about sales science or sales or something, then I have experts in the team that are actually experts. So I am the people expert. I know how to hire and how to graduate people and then make them interested, make them, passionate about what they do. But then they are the expert that actually do shit, right? So I can kind of be critique about it, but I'm not actually the one servicing the customer. So I wouldn't say that I'm a sales science. No. So I think that you know your shit better than I am. So for sure. So
I think you're very modest, but I would consider you a revenue scientist, and I hope that you get a platform to share your wonderful information for the world. For anybody who wants to reach out to you and connect with you and learn more about you and pick your brain or hire you, how can they find you? Where can they reach you? Is it Michael at Belkins? Did we get it right on the screen?
Yeah, Michael at Belkins.io, and then you can look me up on LinkedIn. I'm very active. I always answer. So whatever you have any questions about appointment setting, guys, I'm there. We'll be happy to help you. To hit me up.
All right, everybody, thank you for checking in this episode. I learned a live lesson that I'm not plugged into my house. I probably don't want to go live, but Mike, I appreciate all the information you had. Thank you for joining us today, man, and have a good one.
Thank you, Amir. Thanks for having me. Take care.